Right, so I woke up in the middle of the night in a frenzy to come in here and make this video. So you best listen to what I gotta say. It is a bad hour of the night, Jesus Christ, and I'm here to talk about the DARREN SHAN series. I'm fully aware that this video today will get a grand total of 5 views, but that's because pop culture never really shone on this saga like they did Harry Potter, or Hunger Games, or Doctor Who. Hey, in a more popular, different reality, you might be watching a DARREN SHAN channel right now. I love it that much. These were my childhood books. The saga of DARREN SHAN is a brilliant horror adventure 12-part book series. Originally read them as a kid, can now fully appreciate them as an adult. In terms of young adult fiction, DARREN SHAN certainly got shafted. But, and here's the but, you will find so many odd fans in the strangest of places. DARREN SHAN is popular all around the world, and you start a conversation and at least a couple heads will perk up. That was my childhood series! Me too! So today this doesn't have to be some exclusive club, some fandom video that most people won't get. Dude, use this as incentive to go and pick up the first book. Cirque is a joy. But of course, as we all know, the DARREN SHAN series never got a movie. Never. It never happened. So if we were to hypothetically dreamcast this series into a TV show or a movie, which for the record has never happened, here is what I've been working on. Number 1, DARREN SHAN. Author DARREN SHAN is on the record as saying that this actor, much too old. I'll go one step further and say that Nickelodeon Movies insisted on casting a plank of wood, which is bold. For a post-Purge Darren, I can't imagine anything except Charlie Rowe. He was even in another adaptation of The Golden Compass. And those eyebrows hold secrets. But what you really need here is an investable, dependable Daniel Radcliffe. You need a young talent, a doe-eyed little boy who can grow up to be an actual capable actor. Because Darren grows, making him a very difficult celebrity role to cast. But Charlie Rowe seems to match the brief pretty well visually. Crepsley, the fan favourite. Now for the record, John C. Reilly, not a bad bit of casting. He is undeniably the best part of this movie, and he's giving it his all, but the tone is off. I don't look at this guy and think, oh, Victorian workhouse, or 400-year-old vampire. I just see slightly doughy funny man with a cool scar. In a series with a different tone, more akin to the books, I'd want to cast someone with gravitas. Someone like Damian Lewis. So we're unanimous then. Sick. Mr. Tiny. This role goes to Ian McNeice. Ian McNeice, not a very tiny man. Although McNeice might be known for his fun and friendly roles from Doctor Who to Doc Martin, this guy has range. McNeice is often typecast as a lovable idiot, but I would love to see him play a scary character with intensity. So he's my risk pick. My go-to pick would be obviously Toby Jones. He's small and wiry. And now there's a man who can play a good villain. When writing this list, I did have to fight the temptation not to cast every single A-lister I can think of. Number 1, because they're boring picks. And number 2, even though this is a hypothetical for fun dreamcast, big actors can sometimes be distracting. If we're to follow the movie mold of the most successful book adaptation series in history, I'd say you'd have to mix some of the A-listers with some of the new up-and-comings. The casting process for Harry Potter was long for a reason. But when done right, it clearly works. Other than Rupert Grint. Don't know why I'm Rupert Grint. But then I remembered that the cheap Nickelodeon movie managed to book Ken Watanabe as Mr. Tall. So again, no issues with that. I'll grab him, please. Can we get rid of that weird boil on his head? Watanabe's a brilliant actor, and this is one of the few roles that doesn't have to go to someone supremely Anglo-Saxon white. Although I would take no issue with some flexible casting, the vampires are very obviously meant to be Vikings, with obvious and traceable European roots. And this is fine. The cast of DARREN SHAN actually goes on to get quite diverse in the late game, which is why for Vansha, there is nobody else we can cast other than the most big burly British bastard, Richard Armitage. The lead of Castlevania, Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit. This casting just seems natural. Vansha is basically already Thorin Oakenshield, who smiles, And visually, I would have to dampen out the green hair, because I'm boring. But also because many of these characters weren't meant to be visualized. Even the manga is in black and white. I also feel like Armitage, or any respectable actor, would quite rightly deny green fucking hair. His brother, Ganon, that's Christopher Eccleston to a T. Now, would I cast Christopher Eccleston no matter what the source material was? Yeah, probably. But we need somebody to match Armitage in terms of age and presence. I really struggled with Snake Boy. Ever is tough because he also grows with Darren, so you need an actor with a similar age. Ezra Miller might suit Evra's look as an adult. But that's just a frame of reference. Good luck finding a young actor who wants to act through those prosthetics for 5+ years. I truly hate the idea of this, but if the best you can do is this, just cut the character entirely. Now, Ivana's an incredibly tricky one. She's more so a character who works on the page. You need to hire a supremely ugly actress or an incredibly attractive one and cover the other one with CGI. Depending on the budget, perhaps Ivana is actually a CGI augmented character. But that's just the exterior. For the interior, I think Miriam Margolyes would be a steal. For that otherworldly, slightly maternal pompousness. She's also a shapeshifter, meaning half of her scenes could be handled by Lily Cole, a woman who looks like a doll. As a kid, I always pictured her as the witch lady from Pirates of the Caribbean. But then you can't cast Naomi Harris, she's a bonker. For our sales, there is only one pick, and I don't care if the races don't check out on this one because Sofia Boutella is a must-have. I think I'd cast Sofia Boutella in anything but a confident and alluring character played by an actress accustomed to action roles. Doesn't get better. That's 1-to-1 for me. Debbie, a teenage love interest character written so well, I think I had a crush on her. I actually wrote this list, this fan cast list, a good 2 years ago, before Letitia Wright rose to fame with Black Mirror and a little film called Black Panther? Yeah, that's Shuri. So maybe she might be above our pay grade now, but I can't think of a better casting for a slightly older Debbie, post-time skip. And then there's Governor Pearl. Now, the age with him is quite rocky. The manga made him look like a gumshoe detective, but I'd actually play with it and make him Taron Egerton? Fuck. Kingsman. Kingsboy. Don't like that, Dan? Well, it's better than Willem Dafoe. And plus, come on man, they're all vampires anyway. None of them look the age they actually are. You just need someone handsome, friendly, rough around the edges, and really sweet. So that when they die, it hurts all the more. So, on that series ruining spoiler, this series has been out for 15 years. Let's cast my favourite character, Kurda. Now for this, you need somebody who looks powerful, but is overtly feminine. Perhaps a man with longer hair, or blonde, or grey hair. Kurda is a pretty boy. He's the pretty boy of Vampire Mountain. But he still has to be physically and authoritatively capable. Now, I was pretty torn on this. He is my favourite after all. A more boring pick might just go, Tom Hiddleston, and be done with it. Oh yeah, cast Benedict Cumberbatch, because I've seen one British thing before, and there's only like 3 British actors, right? No. This role obviously goes to Laurie Calvertz. Visually, he checks out. At 6 feet tall and those cheekbones, he has the build of a jock, but the face and hair of a pretty boy. You also need somebody with an intellectual, feckless demeanour, but then can just switch it off. To be honest, I haven't seen Calvera nearly enough to make this assumption. But visually, I look at him and I see nothing but this role. Next, Murloc, Hermione Hermione. Now here I've got hilariously written Liam Neeson, but I've been told by my sources that Liam Neeson is in fact cancelled. Or perhaps we can just cast him as villains now? I don't know, how does this work, Hollywood? For that lion-like rumbling voice, yeah, you could put Liam Neeson in big prosthetics and boom, you've got your villain. Or you could cast Mark Hamill. Yeah, Luke Skywalker voice actor Mark Hamill. Not only is he one of the best voice talents in the world, but he's also kind of got this goblin-y look to him. Is that rude to say? Nah man, I think that's part of his portfolio. Alice Burgess, Police Commissioner, Indira Varma. strict, tough, and authoritative, and can maybe even handle herself in an action scene. Which, oh look, Indira Varma totally can. Morgan James is just basically a big, nasty police bastard. And for that I'm going to cast Vincent Castle, who has perhaps the most intimidating face in all of Hollywood. You wouldn't even need to horribly disfigure him. This vampet former police guard is pretty much already there. Mika Verleth. You want to cast an actor who resembles a raven, a human raven. So obviously Olivier Martinez fits the role perfectly. But if you want to go a bit upmarket, Cillian Murphy could fill the same role very handily. Arrow, just cast the biggest, nastiest fucker you can see. Just get him off the street from the pub. I don't think Arrow even has lines. But hey, get Ray Stevenson in for a day to scowl on set. Boom. And for Paris, I cast Brian Cox. Not that Brian Cox, actor boy Brian Cox. Hey. Or failing that, somebody horribly, anciently old. Saber Nile can be played by the ever-lovable Bernard Cribbins. And Vanessa Blaine is gonna get aged down so Jamie Bell can play him. And last of all, the main villain, our number one threat, Steve Leonard. Steve is a tough one, because we never see him as a teenager, only as a young boy and then an adult. For this reason, because the casting is so spot on and perfect, I'm not going to have a young kid grow into an older actor. I'm going to actually do a recast. Get some unknown talent. Some rising, unheard of childhood star, and then when the time skip happens, replace him with Alex Pettyfer. Stormbreaker here, looking pretty damn dishy these days. He's played villains before, and my god, he can be an intimidating threat. But we also know him as the fun, friendly Stormbreaker boy, which might be able to throw off an audience into thinking he isn't a complete villain right out the gates. I mean, hey, that twist worked on me when I was 11. Steve is probably the most fun role to play. The amount of range necessary, you also have to be a fair bit batshit. And Pettyfer's more recent roles have proved he can actually act, which is a plus. And there we go. This is an incredibly unrealistic fan cast, but I have always been very interested in this little fan activity. Now, it's very unlikely that the world of movies even takes a second look at Darren Shan, which is why I look to Netflix. Netflix, you're making everything possible. Please get one of your branches on this Darren Shan adaptation, please. A TV show, animated, anything. The manga I've been showing throughout is so perfect in catching all of their likenesses. And in the tiny chance that author Darren Shan is watching right now, thanks for the childhood. When Netflix comes to your door, tell them to cast Sam Davis as Darren Shan. That's Davis without the E.